Hi friends, welcome back to Pages and Grace. My name is Jess. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I read in the month of June. So the first book I picked up was The Call of the Wild+Free by Ainsley Armand. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. It is, the cover. If any book has this kind of cover, it's mine. Green's my favorite color. The trees, just the feel of it. This book is full of the most beautiful. Let's see if I can get you some beautiful pictures and details as you go through the book, which I really enjoyed. So this is actually a book on homeschooling. I do not homeschool at this point. My son is 4 years old, so he does go to preschool. But in the future, we've considered it. So I'm looking into different perspectives and different ways to homeschool. If that is something that you're interested in, this is a very, very good book. It's chocked full of different methods of homeschooling, different ideas on homeschooling. I loved the idea of raising your kids wild and free. That was beautiful. We live in the country. We have plenty of room for my kids. So we raise our kids out here in rural area, and my kids can just run. They're not quite old enough to just go play in the woods by themselves, but we have woods. We have lots of space to play. They can play in the mud. They can play in the dirt. They can just be kids, and I love it. So if that's something that calls to your heart, this is a book definitely to pick up. I know not everybody enjoys nonfiction. I share it if I read it. If you're interested, great. If not, I'm going to move on. And I say not everybody enjoys nonfiction, but my next book is also nonfiction. This one took me quite a while to get through. John Adams by David McCullough. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 5 stars. There is so much chalked into this book. So actually the book I'm reading right now is A Girl Called Samson, which is in the same time frame as this, which I think having this right before that book was very helpful to kind of see all the other workings, the true events that were happening during that time that helped piece together what the characters in the book A Girl Called Samson is going through was really helpful. I really enjoyed this book. I had been intimidated by it for so long. I don't remember how long this has been on my shelf. I got it secondhand years ago, and I was like, I'll get to that. I'm going to get to that when I have time. But this summer, I made it happen. It follows John Adams, his life from when he first starts out in his adult life into his last days, which it was fascinating. I enjoyed it. If you are into history, especially revolutionary history, absolutely pick up this book if you haven't already. So the next book that I picked up was Love on Deck by Casey Stockton. I enjoyed this book. It was a 4-star read for me. We follow Lauren and Jack as they are on this cruise together. They end up fake dating. So Lauren's sister and his best friend the reason they're going on this cruise is because Lauren's sister and his best friend are getting married. And so they had a really bad blind date years and years before, and things had never gotten smoothed over from that. But then in order to save him from some crazy girls on the cruise, they end up fake dating, which brings up some of the old tension, the old kind of flame between the two of them. I did enjoy this book. It's not the most memorable book I've read, but I did enjoy it. I also love that cover. It's got all the things that make me happy. It feels like summer. So it was a really fun read. I enjoyed it. It was perfect for the summertime. So if you're looking for a light beach read for the summer, definitely pick it up. So the next book or books that I picked up were in a series by Maggie Brendan. The first one was The Trouble with Patience, and the second one was A Sweet Misfortune. So I enjoyed these books. I think I enjoyed the second one more than the first one. They are set in the Old West, They were part of the Vices and Virtues series. You do not have to read them in order. I made that mistake. I had this one from the thrift store, and I thought I need to pick up the first one before I read this one. So I picked it up on audio, listened to it, and the next one has really nothing to do with it, which is fine. I don't mind that. I just should have known that going into it. I wish I would have known going into it. So the first book in this series was The Trouble with Patience. So it was a 3-star book. I enjoyed it. I think part of the storyline just wasn't for me, and that's okay. So this one we follow Patience, of course, in the name, and Jedediah. So Patience has lost the man that she's going to marry, and she decides that when she inherits this boarding house from one of her family members that passed, that she is going to stake out on her own and take care of this boarding house, and this is going to be her livelihood. And she goes to the boarding house. She builds up relationships in the community. She builds up the boarding house. And in the town that she travels to, the sheriff, Jedediah Jones, and her kind of hit it off, and the story unfolds from there. Do I remember a lot of the story? No. It was a fun read. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't something that I'm going to hold on to. I'm not going to go buy a hard copy of that book to go with this one. So in this one, A Sweet Misfortune, we have Rachel, who has lost everything. She's lost her family. She is trying to do the best she can to make it on her own, and she ends up a dancing girl in the local saloon. And her brother sends John McIntyre to come take her out of there, swoop her out of that situation, and bring her back to his family's home. The story unfolds from there. It was sweet. It was cute. I did give this one 4 stars, or I think I did it 3.5, rounded up to 4. I enjoyed it. Is it one that I'm going to hold on to? Probably not. And now I'm feeling like I'm sounding super negative in this video, but it wasn't a great reading month. May was fantastic. I read so many wonderful books in May, and I think that's what left me with June as kind of a downhill slide from there. But that's okay. It'll pick up from here. It already has with the book that I'm reading right now. The next book I picked up was A Crown of Chains by Erin Phillips. I enjoyed the writing. I really did. I liked the premise of retelling the story of Esther. I love the story of Esther in the Bible. But there was definitely creative license. And when you're creating a fictionalized book, of course you're going to add things to the story. But there were some things that just kind of crossed the line that I'm not comfortable with. There was some infidelity in the story that was not from the Bible. So infidelity is not something that I usually like in books, and especially when it was added into the story from the Bible, a retelling of the story in the Bible, that it wasn't there. And so about halfway through the book, I was like, I don't think this is right. And so I went to the reviews on Goodreads, and there were several other people who had said similar things, that it was a fun story and there was so much intrigue, and I did enjoy that part of it. But taking the story and twisting it that far, it was across a comfort level for me. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I love to follow Erin Phillips on Instagram. I love following her content. It is so much fun to watch. I will probably try her second book. I'm hoping that, I saw in some of the reviews that it's not going to cross the same lines. So hopefully that was just a one-time thing, and I won't have to worry about it. Because I love the cover. I loved the way she depicted the story, and she didn't shy away from things. When you hear in the Bible a concubine, I mean, the life they went through, and it is just so matter-of-factly put in there many, many times. And to actually have to be in the place of one, and to mentally go through that really, really was beneficial. But the fact when the marriage wasn't biblical, it broke my heart. So I do want to pick up another one of her books. I may wait a little bit before I do that. I will try to read some more reviews, make sure I really am okay with it before I pick it up. I didn't want to DNF it because I was hoping it would redeem itself, but it didn't. So, but anyways, on to the next book. The next book I picked up was In Search of a Prince by Toni Shiloh, which I did enjoy. So much faith content in her books. I absolutely enjoy how much faith she puts into her books. It's not just, hey, we have faith and we talk about it sometimes and then it gets put in a box and it's set over here. Nope. It's every day. It's all the time. Big decisions, small decisions. I loved it. The first part of it was a little bit too political for me. I wasn't interested in all of the details of everything that she had to go through. I mean, it was necessary to an extent, but I think some of that could have been cut out, and it would have held my attention a little bit better. But I am going to pick up the second in this series because at this point I'll read. This is my second Toni Shiloh book, and at this point I will read all of her books because no matter what, I've seen such a strong faith element and that example of how we should live our lives, and I'm here for it. I think that these books that we read, we're surrounding ourselves with people, right? With characters and different examples of how people live their lives. And do I think everything I should read is going to be of perfect people and doing exactly what they're supposed to? No. But I think the more that we surround ourselves with people that are setting a good example, that are showing us how to live a life along Christ's path. I think that's absolutely essential in today's world, where it's really hard to find sometimes. The next book I picked up was Falling in Line by Casey Stockton. So I really enjoyed this book. It's the second one in the Arcadia Creek series. This one is actually set in Arcadia Creek this time, mainly centered around Arcadia Creek. So in this book we have Tucker and June. Tucker is the brother of Jack from the first book in the series. So Tucker and June dated in high school, start of college, and then all of a sudden June disappears and just leaves everybody behind. And this is her story of coming home to take care of her dad and kind of reacquainting herself with everyone in the town, her old friends, and also being put back in proximity with Tucker and how things unfold from there. I enjoyed this story. It was, again, after several books that were kind of a struggle this month. This one was lighthearted and fun, and it was perfect for summer and kind of got me back into the groove of reading. I actually took like a week and a half where I just could not pick anything up. So I started several audiobooks thinking that maybe I could just power through and start my brain going again. Nope, couldn't do it. And so this one was lighthearted and fun, and I really enjoyed it. It would be my second favorite in the series. I think I like the first one a little bit better. So the next one in the series comes out in November, which I will definitely be picking up and continuing along with this series. I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. Again, especially after some of the flops that I've had this summer so far. And that's it. Those are the books I read in the month of June. It was definitely a roller coaster of a reading month. I had a lot of really great reads, a lot of so-so reads that kind of put me in a reading slump and kept me from some of these other books that I have been looking forward to getting to for so long. So in the next few videos, I plan to share some of my reading goals for the year and see how I'm doing on those, and to kind of do a reflection on the year so far. I've really been enjoying making these videos for you guys. You have been so kind in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.